You burn me. That is what a 61-year-old woman told her radiation technician in 1985, right after a routine cancer treatment. Over the next 19 months, 5 more patients across 4 cities and 2 countries would be hurt by the same machine. Every single overdose traced back to software. Bugs so small, they looked almost too minor to matter. And yet together, they turned a machine built to destroy tumors with pinpoint precision into one that delivered radiation doses up to 100 times what a human body can survive, sometimes in under a second. Nobody caught it in time, because the screen never told the truth. Sometimes it said, "No dose delivered." Twice, it flashed the 2 words you're looking at right now. Malfunction 54, a code that wasn't explained anywhere, and that even the people staring at it couldn't interpret. This is the story of the Therac-25, one of the deadliest software failures ever documented. In the early 1980s, a Canadian government-owned company called Atomic Energy of Canada Limited, ACL, built what looked like the future of cancer treatment. The Therac-25, a linear accelerator that could fire 2 kinds of radiation: low-energy X-rays for deep tumors and direct electron beams for tumors closer to the skin. One machine, 2 modes, controlled entirely from a console outside the room. Compared to its predecessors, the Therac-6 and Therac-20, it was smaller, cheaper, more flexible. Hospitals loved it. 11 were installed across the US and Canada. For the first 2.5 years, it worked. Nobody suspected a thing. But buried inside the Therac-25 was a decision that reads less like an engineering choice and more like a warning nobody heard. And to understand it, you have to understand what ACL removed, not what they added. The Therac-6 and Therac-20 had independent hardware interlocks, mechanical switches, physical circuits. If the machine tried to fire without the right equipment in place, hardware, not code, would stop it. The Therac-25 was different. ACL designed it around computer control from day one, and decided the software would handle safety alone. Cheaper than hardware, and it felt modern. There was another problem hiding in the software. Much of the Therac-25's control software evolved from code written years earlier for the Therac-6, written largely by a single programmer, working alone in PDP-11 assembly language over the better part of a decade. But nobody had a complete blueprint for how the parts responsible for controlling the radiation beam were supposed to behave. And some of those same routines have been quietly reused in the Therac-22, the machine everyone trusted, sitting on hardware interlocks that would end up masking a bug that was there the entire time. Nobody had any reason yet to think there was a problem. That changed on June 3rd, 1985, in Marietta, Georgia. A 61-year-old woman, already treated for a malignant breast tumor, came in for routine follow-up radiation to nearby lymph nodes. Standard treatment. When a machine switched on, she felt what she'd later describe as a tremendous force of heat, a red-hot sensation tearing through her shoulder. She told the technician, "You burned me." He told her that wasn't possible. There were no marks on her skin, and the machine's own display had reported the treatment as normal. Within days, the treatment area turned red and swollen. Her shoulder froze. Weeks later, her physicist noticed a matching red mark on her back, as if the burn had gone straight through her body. His estimate, 15 to 20,000 rads. For context, a normal treatment delivers about 200. 500 rads to the whole body has roughly even odds of killing you. She'd received, in a fraction of a second, 75 to 100 times the intended dose. Her breast was eventually removed. She lost the use of her arm and shoulder permanently. The treatment printout that would have recorded the dose had been disabled that day. ACL never investigated. The case was quietly settled, and every other hospital running a Therac-25 carried on, unaware. 7 weeks later, in Hamilton, Ontario, a 40-year-old woman came in for her 24th treatment for cervical cancer. The operator turned the machine on. 5 seconds later, it shut down with an error, H-tilt, display reading no dose. H-tilt meant the machine couldn't confirm its turntable, the part that rotated the right equipment into position before the beam fired, was actually where it needed to be. Nobody explained that to her either. So she did what every operator was trained to do: hit P for proceed and tried again. Same failure. 5 attempts total, each reporting 0 dose delivered. She wasn't ignoring a warning. The console kept insisting nothing had happened, and hitting proceed was exactly what she'd been trained to do when it said that. The patient said she felt an electric tingling shock in her hip with every attempt. Every one of those 5 failed attempts had actually fired. An ACL technician later estimated her total dose at 13 to 17,000 rads, delivered 5 times, while the console insisted nothing had happened at all. She died 3 months later. The autopsy listed her aggressive cancer as cause of death, but noted that had she lived, the radiation damage alone would have required a full hip replacement. ACL couldn't reproduce the failure. They blamed a faulty microswitch, patched it, and told hospitals the fix improved safety by 5 orders of magnitude. 10 million% safer, they said. They were wrong about the cause. In 6 months, the truth would catch up with them in Washington state. December 1985, Yakima Valley Memorial Hospital, Washington state. A patient developed a stripe burn pattern on her hip after treatment. Nobody connected it to the machine. ACL's 10 million% safer fix was fresh. Surely not that. Staff blamed a heating pad. X-rayed it. Didn't match. They wrote to ACL, who responded with 2 pages explaining why an overdose was not possible and noted there had been no other reports of anything like this. That was false. Marietta and Hamilton had already happened. ACL simply hadn't told anyone. The patient survived barely. It would take over a year and a second accident at the same hospital before anyone understood what had happened to her. 3 accidents, 3 hospitals, each told in writing that the Therac-25 was safe. The 4th would hit the exact same operator on the exact same machine, 3 weeks apart in Tyler, Texas. The East Texas Cancer Center had run its Therac-25 for 2 years. Over 500 patients treated, no problems. This was their most experienced operator. On March 21, 1986, setting up an electron treatment, she typed X for X-ray when she meant E for electron, a common slip. She fixed it fast, cursor up, correct the letter, hit return, beam ready. She pressed B. Almost immediately, the machine stopped the treatment and displayed malfunction 54. Nobody knew what that meant. The manual didn't cover it, and the only reference in the building was a handwritten sheet of error codes taped to the machine. Next to 54, it just said dose input 2. That explained nothing. The display showed 6 units delivered against 202 requested, a massive underdose as far as anyone could tell. So she hit Pete. Proceed. It fired again. Same error. The patient, alone in a shielded room with a broken audio monitor, said it felt like hot coffee poured on his back, then an electric shock. He got up to leave. That's when she hit P a second time. He survived 5 months, dying from radiation damage to his spinal cord, paralysis in his arm and both legs, and loss of his voice. Estimated dose, 16 to 25,000 rads, concentrated into an area the size of a coin in under a second. 3 weeks later, same hospital, same operator, a different patient, same typo, same fix, same beam on command. This time the intercom worked. She heard a bang, then moaning. He was tearing tape off his own face, saying he'd seen a flash of light and heard a sound like frying eggs. He died 3 weeks later from acute damage to his brainstem. 2 accidents. Same hospital, same operator, same typo, fixed the same way, both times followed by catastrophic overdose. Someone was about to prove the problem wasn't the hardware at all, it was the software. Fritz Hager, the hospital physicist at Tyler, did something ACL's own engineers hadn't managed in over a year. He sat down and tried to break the machine on purpose. ACL had already tested it after the first death and couldn't reproduce malfunction 54. Their conclusion, an overdose wasn't possible. Hager didn't believe that. He had the operator walk him through, keystroke by keystroke, exactly what she remembered. He found the pattern. The typo wasn't the problem. The problem was the fix. The operator would accidentally select X-ray, notice the mistake, move the cursor back up, change it to electron mode, and restart the treatment. If she completed that correction within about 8 seconds, the software bug would trigger. It took practice to reproduce. Once he could, his detector saturated measuring the dose. Recalibrated, he got a reading over 4,000 rads, from a machine whose console still claimed it was underdosing. When ACL finally tried the exact procedure at that speed, they reproduced it too. 2 days later, their own measurements put the dose at 25,000 rads. Here's what was actually happening, in plain terms. Picture 2 employees sharing one clipboard. One employee updates it. The other only checks it once at the start of job, then goes heads down for 8 seconds setting up the equipment. If the first employee changes the clipboard after that one check, even a second after, the second employee never finds out. He finishes the job, believing the old information was still correct. That's the Therac-25. The screen showed the operator's correction, but it kept configuring the machine for a full power electron beam, even though the hardware that was supposed to spread and reduce that beam never moved into place. A skilled operator, moving fast enough to make that correction inside that 8-second window, could trigger a failure nobody had ever tested for. ACL patched it and told the FDA it was fixed. It wasn't the last bug in the machine. It was only the first one anyone had found. The taped sheet had a clue on it the whole time, and nobody in a room could decode it. An ACL technician would later testify what dose input 2 actually meant, a dose delivered either too high or too low. That definition existed inside ACL. Nobody had ever told the people running the machine. January 17, 1987. Back in Yakima, a man came in for a gentle dose, 86 rads. He was hit with 8 to 10,000. The same stripe burn pattern as the hospital's first patient, over a year earlier. Same signature, same flaw nobody had caught. This time it had nothing to do with typing speed. Before treatment, the software verified the hardware was correctly positioned, using a single shared counter that ticked up by 1 every pass. 0 meant all clear. Anything else meant not ready. That counter was 1 byte. It could only count to 255 before wrapping back to 0. Roughly once every 256 checks, it would overflow and land back on 0 for no reason related to whether the hardware was actually in place. If an operator hit set at that exact instant, the machine reported everything fine, whether it was or not. He died 3 months later from his underlying cancer combined with the overdoses complications. 6 accidents, 2 different bugs, 1 root cause. A machine trusting software to catch failures hardware used to catch. Running code never tested for an operator moving faster or differently than whoever wrote it imagined. Proof of exactly that arrived from an unexpected place. The exact bug behind the Tyler accidents also existed in the older Therac-25 software. A physicist at a cancer center in Chicago had watched that machine occasionally blow fuses on new operators ever since the hospital got it. After hearing about the Tyler accidents, he tested for the same fast edit. Same bug, but on the Therac-20, it never overdosed anyone. It just blew a fuse and shut the machine down cold because a physical circuit was standing guard the software could never override. Identical bug, 2 different outcomes. The danger was never really in the code. It was in the decision to trust the code alone. None of this should have taken 6 accidents and 19 months to surface. A congressional investigation later found that fewer than 1 out of every 100 deaths, injuries, and equipment failures caused by medical devices in U.S. hospitals ever reaches the FDA. After the second Tyler death, the FDA formally declared the Therac-25 defective. After the second Yakima accident, they went further. In February 1987, ACL recalled all 11 machines and suspended their use until August. The FDA classified it a Class 1 recall, their most serious designation, for situations carrying a reasonable probability of serious injury or death. The eventual fix wasn't a software patch. It was a return to what the older machines had never abandoned. Independent hardware interlocks, physically incapable of being overridden by a software bug, standing between the beam and the patient no matter what the code believed was happening. Software was never the whole problem. It was the decision to let it stand alone, unchecked, as the last line of defense in a machine capable of a lethal dose in under a second. Of the 6 patients, 3 died directly from their overdoses. A 4th death was attributed to the cancer she was already fighting, though the overdose caused injuries severe enough to need a hip replacement. 2 survived, permanently changed, 1 without a breast and the use of her arm, another carrying scars from skin graft for life. The Therac-25 remains one of the most studied software failures in history. Not because the bugs were exotic, but because almost nothing about how they happened was unique to medical devices. A race condition invisible until someone worked fast enough to trigger it. An overflow bug hiding in an assumption nobody questioned. Hardware safety nets removed because the software was supposed to be good enough. Those same decisions get made somewhere, every day, in code that has nothing to do with radiation. Most of the time, a bug like that crashes an app. Sometimes it costs a company hundreds of millions of dollars in under an hour. This time, that software was trusted to stand between a patient and a lethal beam of radiation. The Therac-25 wasn't dangerous because someone typed too fast. It was dangerous because nobody who built it had imagined that speed itself could be the danger. The hidden layer explores the software bugs, engineering failures, and hidden assumptions behind history's biggest technological disasters, hidden inside the systems we trust every day.